What's the reason for the eviction?
Non-payment of rent, Your Honor.
What's the monthly rent?
Their rent is $118.
Okay. And what months do you allege that they owe?
November and December, both full months at 118. In January, I prorated for $76.12 for a total of $312.12.
Okay.
Oh, can I just,
Yes, I'll ask you.
Okay.
Ma'am, is there a reason why you were not able to meet your obligation?
okay, so, they took me in court in September, right? I paid 518, which I paid the court costs and all that. So when I came into October to try to pay October rent, because I didn't pay October, she told me that she could not take my rent because the fact that I had to pay that 20, they said that it's the 2,500 supposedly that they knocked off the 518 off of that. And so they would not take my money order. So it's actually from October because she said, well, she wasn't supposed to take the 518 because the fact that she wanted me to make the whole money order for 2,000 and something. And I was like, well, what's that for? And she said, because my rent's only 118, so if you're giving me a paper saying 2,500, but you've already taken off the 518 and plus the other five when y'all took me to court the first time for non-renewal. And so I don't know where they add up all these extra charges. So I went in, I spoke to Crystal because I was like, it's not letting me get on the portal. And I even showed her that it was not showing me anything. And she said, okay, well, it's probably IT. We'll fix it. So when they did fix it, I'm like, well, it's still saying like the 25, it's not letting me pay nothing. So when I try to go in with the money order for October, the lady told me that she could not take it. The Crystal shouldn't have taken the money order because sometimes they're open on Saturday and Sunday, sometimes they're not.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure they're open. So I did call Crystal and I said, I'm on my way. She said, well, I'm about to leave. It was like already it was 5. She said, but hold on. She spoke to somebody else. They said, as long as you bring the money order early in the morning the next day, which I did. I took it early in the morning. And then the other lady, I guess is in charge of Crystal, said, well, she wasn't supposed to take it because she already had put the 24-hour thing. And I'm like, okay, well, she still took my money order. So when I tried to go in October to pay the 118, she was like, oh, I can't take it because you got to pay the full amount of the 25. So it started off in April at 2. Then we went to court. Then I paid what I had to pay, the 518. And then it went to like when they gave me the paper that's
Mhm.
attached to this one, it says November for 2,500.
Yeah.
So now they changed companies. So when I log into the portal, it it wasn't showing me anything. But when I was telling Crystal, because I even emailed her, I was like, well, what are all these legal fees on the amount? Because there was a legal fee for like 300, one for 400. I'm like, y'all didn't take me to court that many times to have all these legal fees. So I don't know where these legal fees are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, they were gonna fix it. But she refused my money order. And when the new owners came and they were talking to me, I did tell them, I said she didn't want to take my money order. So actually it's for October too. So I don't know if I don't know what happened to October. So it should have showed October because I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, you know what I mean? That I did pay October when I know I didn't because that's a lie because they refused my money order.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
even if I pay the court cost now, I'm still gonna be in the same position because when I go and try to pay the rent again, they're gonna say I still owe that amount. So either way it goes, I'm still in a
So you had already been taken to court before?
yeah, and I paid the 518, the 400 and the 518, but she refused October's check money order because she said I had to pay the whole amount, which was the 25, like the 2,500. And I'm like, well, I'm paying what the 400 and the 118, and that's what I paid.
Well, that's a little confusing because if your
that's
rent,
what I'm saying. I don't
okay.
know where they got 2,500, and she said that already took off the 518, plus
Yeah.
the other 5 when they said that I didn't renew my lease, which I did, so that got dismissed. So they said they took off the court costs. I'm like, okay, so then you're telling me that I owe $3,000?
Hmm. Okay,
Because if you go to that page, because I have all my paperwork, so when you go to
you didn't
that,
submit anything. How come you didn't submit anything?
I didn't know where to submit it. I was trying to look on my thing because I saved everything. I even told the new landlord, I said I have all my paperwork,
Uh-huh.
and so like, so I was like,
On
where
the
should I get
citation that you received, it says on here, attached
what?
to this notice are additionals, okay. It says any evidence you intend to present must be emailed to Rosanna Ayala, and
Oh,
it's
shoot,
got
I
her,
missed that. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, or
Yeah,
you could,
because
yeah,
I have
so,
since so like I have like all my things where it says like because I saved everything. So back in April it said 203, then it went to 364 in May, and then in June it went to 522. But then I don't have July, but then it went to August to 1236, and then from August it went to because I'm missing uh September, which is September I paid the 518, and then in October it went to 2075, and then in November it's now 2500.
okay. So,
So, so
let me ask
either way
Ms.
it goes,
Wise.
like I said,
Let me ask Ms. Wise. Ms. Wise, do you have a copy of that ledger?
Yes, I have the ledger. So it looks like she did pay in September. It does look like 518, but she still owed $1,623 after that in September. And then she hasn't made any more payments since then, which I understand she said that they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah,
That was including, there's some late fees and electric and some other fees that are included.
okay.
yeah, there's like
Okay.
4 legal fees on there.
I
So,
just see one legal, I see one was taken off in July and I just see one in September for legal fees and court costs.
So
okay,
where did
so
she,
it sounds like where get the 2500
what
from.
court did you go to, Ms. Garza?
Hold on. I have it. Just 1 second, ma'am. Uh, it says, oh, I think it's you, right, Lucy?
Yeah, that's me. You came here?
Yeah, yeah, because they said it was for non-renewal.
Okay,
I did have an email where I was Loretta or the other lady where
uh-huh,
I did renew my lease. So
okay,
then that got dismissed, and then in September I paid the 518, but then
okay.
like October came, she was telling me that it was 2000 something, like, which I have the paper here. So
Mhm.
when they took me to court this time, now it's like 2500 plus whatever. That's what I'm saying. So you took off the five, and then where do you get all this 2500? I know she's saying it's 1000, but now on the paper that we got, it says 2500,
Yeah, right.
2536.
Yeah, I see that.
So even like, because you pay on the portal, so if I pay on the portal, it's not gonna let me pay because it's saying that I have to pay the full amount, and that's what the lady had told me
Right,
when I tried to take in the money order, and Crystal was gonna take it. She's like, no, we can't take it because I need the full amount for the
right,
25.
right, right.
So either way
Unfortunately,
it goes, I'm still in the buying that. Even if I pay like the three something, and she says, oh, because it's not 236, it's three. So because I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, you know what I mean? That
yeah,
I paid October, which I didn't because she refused the money order. So even if I pay that plus the four, and when I go back next month to pay again, she's still gonna say, you know what I mean? She's still not gonna take my
right.
rent. So
Yeah, apparently, if what it sounds like to me, it sounds like to me that you've had balances and they've been adding up. And so, since you didn't pay for November, then they went ahead and attached that, and then December, and here we are in January. Okay, so yeah, the portal won't take it. They've been instructed by corporate that you have to pay the whole amount before they let you stay. Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay,
yeah, so when they're taking me to court, they're taking me to court for the three something. So that's what I'm paying. You know what I mean? That's the court cost. So it's like the last time they had 236, the rent was wrong, so they adjusted it, whatever. So then I tried to do the money order because at first I couldn't get on the portal because it wasn't
right.
showing me anything.
It
So then
won't.
Crystal helped me. Uh, And so she told me, and she's all like, well, it's gonna get fixed, but it's still, you know what I mean?
Ms. Weiss, what's her balance? What's the true balance that she's supposed to have?
I don't have the ledger through January yet. The ledger I have shows 23, 35, 31.
25.
20, the one I show shows 23, 35, 31.
Okay. Does it explain how did they get to that?
It looks like she hasn't been current with a zero balance since March 1st.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, March 1st has a zero balance, but since then she has always had a balance.
Always had a balance. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on, Ms. Garza, is that you
So
know,
you're
you,
basically telling me I owe 3,500 then, because if you
they,
took off the 518 and
yeah,
then
they've carried that
five,
balance, they've carried that balance and carried that balance. And of course, then you get the late fees and on top of that, and then whatever you owe as utilities, then they're tacked on. So that's how
I
it's
know that
come up
that's
to
not
that
that
amount.
much. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not that much because my rent was only $23. So
Yeah.
there's no, like, that's a whole lot of late fees. You go from 1,000 to 200,000, like
Right.
from $23. So like,
Yeah, you might want to go talk to them and have them explain to you how they came up with that amount. Unfortunately, they're only what they're the amount that I'm going to assess is what they have on here. Is that you didn't pay for November, which is 118, you didn't pay for December, 118, and then January it's been prorated to $76.12. And so I'll explain that to you. Okay. So let me go ahead and explain the process. All righty. So for case 25 EV 520, Costa Tarragona 1 LTD DBA Costa Tarragona 1 versus Carmen Garza and Diamond Solis and all other occupants. I rule in favor of the plaintiff in the form of a judgment at said premises 2240 North Padre Island Drive, apartment 4302, 78408 for the amount of $312.12 of unpaid back rent. $400 is the court cost. There's no attorney's fees for a total judgment of $712.12. This is just for the unpaid back rent. Okay, this does not include any late fees. It does not include anything that for utilities
but
or
that's what
anything.
I'm saying. Like, I'm still gonna be, even though I pay that, I'm still gonna be in the same bind because they're gonna say you refuse the rent for the following month, like they
Right.
did October.
Right. You need to go talk to them and have them explain that to you. Okay. Because, obviously, like they say, Ms. Weiss just explained, you've carried a balance. The only time that you've had a zero balance was back in March. So you've been carrying, balances of whatever it is. I mean, I don't know if you didn't pay or the utilities or whatever they were charging you for, but you need to go in there and talk to them and have them explain that to you. Okay. So let me explain to you. So I'm going to go ahead and assess the appeal bond. It's going to be double it's going to be $500 for the appeal bond. Okay. So let me explain to you. I have to explain to you, this is the law. Okay. This is what the law says. The law says you have 5 days to vacate or to appeal. If you don't appeal by the 5th day and you're still in the property, then on the 6th day, the plaintiff can come in and ask for a writ of possession. A writ is an order that goes to the constables. The constables will process that paperwork. They'll come back to your premises and place a notice on your door that says you have 24 to 48 hours to vacate. If you're still there when they come back, then they'll ask you to leave, and whatever's in the apartment will be placed out onto the curb by the landlord. Now, you may appeal this judgment by filing a bond, making a cash deposit, or filing a statement of inability to afford court costs. Within the 5 days after this judgment is signed. I will be signing this judgment today. Okay, and this falls into the civil procedures of the Texas rules for 510.9A. Okay, again, you have 5 days to vacate or to appeal. And you can go ahead and talk to them in person and have them explain everything to you. But the law says, obviously you didn't pay for November, you didn't pay for December, and partial rent for January. So that's why you're here. Okay. So
Well, they would
again,
have taken my October money order. I wouldn't be where I'm at.
I understand, but I don't know what their procedures are. I don't know what I mean, sometimes corporate will tell them that they cannot accept journey payment until you pay what is owed, all the back payment. So I don't know what's going on.
Then I have to get my first payment, my money order for the 518 then.
No, I understand. So like I said, have them explain everything to you. Okay? We'll send a copy of the judgment to both parties. Good luck, Ms.
Okay,
Garza.
they got a new owner, so when I was asking for a lease, she said they couldn't get into, they were changing all the
Right,
portal
they
and doing all
they
that
might
stuff.
have new ownership, and new ownership becomes new rules. So I don't know what those rules are, but you might want to go talk to them and have it explain everything to you. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Your Honor.
What months are you alleging that she owes?
October for $681.92, November $774, December $774, January I prorated at $499.35 for a total of $2729.27.
Okay. 681.82.
Can I ask a question? She
Yes, ma'am.
said
I'll be right.
27.
Yes, I'll be
Okay.
right with you. Okay, Ms. Reyes, can you please explain to the court why you were not able to make your obligation?
I was currently with my the father of my child. We broke up in December, I believe. He
Okay,
was still helping me or whatever. I was basically a stay-at-home mom, so it kind of caught me off guard. I still working,
okay,
trying to get everything back on track. I have the 2,000 that I was gonna give to the apartment people, but they told me just to wait until after I go to court.
okay,
I have that 2,000. I just need to come up with the rest, and I just need to know if I'm gonna be able to stay there or if I'm just gonna be able if y'all just gonna kick me out.
okay,
Because if you want me to be honest with you, truthfully, if I am gonna get kicked out, I'm probably gonna just keep the 2,000 so I can just go find me and my daughter a place because it's just me and her.
okay,
Basically a single mom. You know, everybody's a single mom. Everybody has bills to pay, but it just caught me off guard. I was a stay-at-home mom.
okay,
I get paid. Getting paid every 2 weeks is kind of what's messing me up because it's every 2 weeks I get two paychecks a month.
okay.
So paying the stuff for my daughter and the stuff for the apartment is I'm trying to keep up.
Sure.
But like I said, I have the 2,000 down that I could put down, but I just need
Okay.
to know what else I'm still missing.
Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay. So let me add this up real quick. It's
Just before I know you're gonna start that, but just a
uh-huh.
question on the one that she said 2727, is that what I'm behind or because they just gave me a paper on I guess on the 6th or whatever it says the 6th, but it says that I'm behind 3650. So I don't know if that's with this, they're counting this month, the whole full thing for this
Okay.
month.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, this is I see what they sent you. That was
Mhm.
just included up to November. It did not. I don't think they included December and now January. What I'm
No,
what I'm
yes.
what I'm gonna go ahead and the amount that I'm gonna be quoting you today is what the past due for, you owed a balance in October of 681.92. And then November, it's the whole amount, and then December, the whole amount. And what I have here is they're prorating for January. Okay. They might decide to charge you the whole amount, but as the court nationwide is going by the prorated. Okay. So it comes out of $2,729.27. Okay. Now that's not including the court costs. So let me go ahead and do that real quick.
That is the court cost though, that she told me I was only behind 16 in November. I was
Mhm.
behind 16 and then she was said 300 is what I was supposed to add it. So that's why I added the whole 2K because it was what I was behind plus the 300.
Mhm.
So
What I come up,
she had already added everything for me. And
well,
that's why I said I had the 2,000. I mean
right.
the 2,000.
I come up with $2,956.27. That's including uh the 227, which is the court cost. Okay. Now, I don't know what she could be, adding on to you. It might be utility charges. I have no idea. Okay, that's something you would have to discuss with them. Okay. So I'll go ahead and read you the process and then we can go over that a little bit. Okay. So listen carefully. For case 25 EV 521, Costa Tarragona 2 LTD DBA Costa Tarragona 2 versus Victoria Reyes and all other occupants. I rule in favor of the plaintiff in the form of a judgment at said premises of 2240 North Padre Island Drive, apartment 18303, 78408 for the amount of $2,729.27 of unpaid back rent. $227 is the court cost. There's no attorney's fees for a total judgment of $2,956.27. Now the appeal bond is double the rent. The rent is $774. So the appeal will be $1,548. That's the appeal bond. So let me explain to you what the law says, and then I'll go over a little bit of what might be happening, okay? The law says you have 5 days to vacate or to appeal. If you don't appeal by the 5th day and you're still on the property, then on the 6th day, the plaintiff can come in and ask for a writ of possession. A writ is an order that goes to the constables. The constables will process that paperwork. They'll come back to your premises and place a notice on your door that says you have 24 to 48 hours to vacate. If you're still there when they come back, then they'll ask you to leave, and whatever's inside the apartment will be placed out onto the curb by the landlord. Now, you may appeal this judgment by filing a bond, making a cash deposit, or filing a statement of inability to afford court costs within 5 days after this judgment is signed. I will be signing this judgment today, and that falls under the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure 510.9A. Now, what I would suggest to you, okay, is that you might want to go talk to them and, have them explain to you exactly what you owe and what you have. If they want to keep you in the property, if you pay, they might give you a deadline. I don't know. That's what their process is. All I can tell you is today the judgment stands at $2,956.27. But that's not including late fees. That's not including any utility bills. That's why you really need to make sure that you talk to them and decide what they're going to tell you what to do. Okay? They might take the $2,000. They might not. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, the law says you have 5 days to vacate or to appeal. Okay?
Okay.
And we'll send you a copy of the judgment to both parties. Good luck. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.